Let's continue to explore more and more brilliant king and pawn endgames, and here is a classic example of it. Playing white was Gligoric, up a pawn against Robert James Fischer. On the defensive side, down a pawn is trying to defend, and basically this is a great classic example, and it's going to teach us a lot of things, including key squares and opposition. So let's have a look at this example. It's black to play right now. It is Bobby's move, and basically Bobby has three different options here. He can put his king to c7, he can play king to b7, or he can put his king to b8. Basically, three different king moves. Only one of it is right. Two other loses the game. So take your time. Go ahead. Pause the video. Try to calculate. Try to find the precise move, because only one of that successfully draws the game, while the other two loses. So there we go. Hope you didn't come up with the move king to c7, and this is actually a very bad move and allows white to gain opposition. Now let's first explore what are the key squares of the pawn on b4. The key squares are a6, b6 and c6. Basically, if white successfully is able to occupy this square with his king, then he can win the game. So can he do it? If black stops him from doing that, then it's a draw. In fact, white can do it here with king to c5, that's an opposition, forcing black to move and concede some squares. King to b7. Now we have king to b5, opposition again, forcing black to move and concede some squares. Now he has few options. If he goes back to b8, then we obviously enter the 6th rank, and king on the 6th rank, no matter whom to play, is completely winning, as we know. So here he plays king to a7. Now what do? He has given up some control of some important squares, specifically the c6 square, which is a key square of the pawn on b4. Basically, if you have your king two squares in front of the pawn, you will win. So all you have to do is put your king on that square, king to c6, and now this is winning. King b8, king b6 opposition again, and now we just push the pawn, move our king, keep pushing the pawn, and there we have it. White will promote. So going back, if you chose king to c5, king to c7 for black, then that loses, and basically Gligoric would have won that. Bobby didn't choose that. Did Bobby choose king to b7? Let's have a look at this. In fact, after king to b5, we just transpose into the same line. If king to a7, then king c6, and we transpose into the same line. If king to c7, then just king to a6, and we again go into the same kind of line over here. King on the 6th rank, no matter whom to play, winning. Let's say here, and we just have to move our king and start pushing the pawn, and that's all it takes. There we go. Basically, there are multiple ways of winning this, but okay, this is one of the simplest ways. So we established the fact that both the moves, king to c7 and king to b7, are losing for black, because in both the cases white is able to give black opposition and gain the key squares, gain entry on any of the key squares over here. So what's the move that black should play? The correct move that Bobby played in the game was king to b8. This is an excellent move. Basically, black is just waiting for white to make his move. Obviously, the key squares are this, and now white will try to approach the squares. Let's have a look at king to c5, trying to approach the key squares. Now it's black who gives the opposition. He plays king to c7, opposing the king, stopping him from entering the squares. White says, okay, I'll try to use the other key square over here. Black says king to b7, opposition. Basically, black is stopping white from gaining the control and occupation of those key squares, and now white is unable to win, because the king, in order to win in an king and pawn game, you have to have a difference of two squares in between the king and the pawn. You have to have your king that advanced. Right now it's not happening. So king to a6, king a5, king a7, now b5, and this is simply a draw, and there is nothing much happening over here. That is a stalemate. So that would have happened. What happens if instead of king c5, after king b8, basically, what happens if we play king to b5? Now black goes king to b7, again giving an opposition, and no matter where he goes, for example king c5, then king c7, b5, king b7, and this is an easy draw. You can just easily make a draw over here without any efforts. So this is a stalemate, because the black king does not have any squares. So in fact, in the game, Bobby was able to find the move king to b8, and using that, he easily made a draw. After this move, Gligoric agreed. Of course, Bobby knew this endgame very well. Gligoric knew this endgame very well. It's one of the most basic ideas. Basically, the key squares of the pawn until the pawn is on the fourth rank are two squares in front of this. So these are the key squares. White tries to reach those key squares. Black tries to stop him from doing that. If black stops him from doing that, he safely gets a draw. If white occupies those square, he wins the game. That's how it is. It's a really simple thing, and we'll be exploring more examples, more classic examples. In this game, Bobby was able to save the game, save the day, and at the end it was just a draw. So hope you learned something from this about the key squares and opposition. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Move to yourself. Until next time.